Another thing you mentioned on your website there, you mentioned that these toxic individuals are very prone toward retaliation, or they want to punish you. Again, we go back and say, well, even if you disappoint me, really my job to pound you into the ground. And some of these people think, yeah, it really is. That's what I'm going to do. Watch this.
Yeah, this is the one I think is probably the saddest one, and that is that their worldview is inherently different than ours. They don't see the world as fair and equitable and that we all have our own path and that we'll get to where we're going. They view it like war, like a zero-sum
Yeah.
game. That so when you get ahead, your success then is a direct takeaway from mine. Or when you hurt me, that you somehow directly offended me and directly took something from me. So then they get revenge, they get even, they tend to hold grudges and really retaliate. And it's sad because the truth of the world is we don't live in a world like that. We live in a world where a lot of us can be successful and do well. Your success does not take away from mine, but they don't see it that way. It's
They can't, yeah,
very competitive, very jealous. That's, in fact, the DSM-5 lists jealousy as one of the core attributes of narcissism.
okay. Yeah, it's like, well, if you have something and I want it, then something's not fair. Or if I have something, I don't want you to have it.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And this is the other awful thing that happens is they are attracted to people who make them look good. So they may find your success something, they gravitate towards you for it because maybe they want to say that they're associated with you. But once they're in a relationship with you, it no longer is a benefit. It's a place of tension and competition.
Yeah.
Now they resent you for your success.
Yeah, I remember speaking with a woman who said, I know there's no such thing as a perfect person, but my father was perfect. But I know he wasn't, but he really kind of was. And as she was saying that, and she wound up just being a grossly just haughty.
Hmm.
And it's like, well, if I can find someone in my world who meets that idealized standards and then I latch onto it, that means I have it too. And
Yeah.
so they can have sort of that backwards way of putting you down. It's like, of course, you don't know people like that and you don't know people like me, but I do. And there's that ongoing condescension that they carry
Hmm.
with.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, so you got to watch out for that. I think that was one of the things, because I'm such a cooperative person by nature, it really blindsided me that there are people who would see what I do or who I am as a threat, and that I need to be aware and conscious of that and sort of assess someone's motives, be a little more astute about that.
You know, one of the things that research has actually shown is that part of the healthy personality includes multiple characteristics, but right at the top of the list is the characteristic of conscientiousness, making sure that I conduct myself in light of who you are. And there's a courtesy, there's an element of empathy, there's a willingness to blend and harmonize. And you mentioned at the top that you kind of got caught up thinking, well, that's the way I think. Therefore, I'm sure they would appreciate it. And turned out it didn't work out that well.
Right.
But narcissists don't have that conscientious nature. They don't really factor in who you are and why you feel what you do. It's like you're either on my team or you're not on my team.
Yeah, yeah, and actually, they say that they hope you're on their team, but they actually their team is the team of one. There is no one on their team.
Well, the subordinates and flying monkeys and
That's right.
enablers and all of
Yeah,
that.
they may be Batman with a sidekick, but they're not sharing that floor with you.
Okay, touche. You made a good point on that one. Well, and then another thing you mentioned here, that toxic person doesn't make self-initiated efforts to repair damaged relationships. And in other words, I'm not responsible for any problems I've got, which by default means they don't feel the need to say, "Hey, I can tell that didn't go over well. Help educate me, help me understand."
Yeah, that goes back to the fact that they're the center of the stage, the spotlight's on them, there is no one else on the stage, so therefore everything they do is okay. So if you have a reaction to that, then their reaction, it has to be your problem, can't be their problem
No,
because they're
no.
good the way that they are. Again, they have no empathy in the fact that they were, the way they're impacting you.